The Archdiocese of Chicago is a vibrant and diverse faith community. We celebrate our faith through worship, evangelization, and reaching out to the needy. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning, welcome to Catholic Chicago. I'm Father Greg Sakowitz, the rector of William Cathedral here in Chicago. And seated to my left, a very dear friend, Mark Teresi, the co-host of the program. And Mark is involved in our 175th closing as a parish, and now starting the 150th anniversary in November as a cathedral. Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good morning. Closing celebrations of, not closing of the parish.
No. We're not closing.
No, we're not.
The cathedral is not closing.
We're wide open, and we're getting ready for our 150th celebration year, beginning November 23rd, Mass 12:30 at Holy Name. Everybody's invited. And then you go to our website, holynamecathedral.org. We're having a special brunch, a celebration brunch to launch the 150th after Mass. You can get tickets at holynamecathedral.org. And it's going to be a wonderful celebration. There are many things going to be going on during the year. The goal is let's preserve this beautiful cathedral.
Again, on Sunday, November 23rd, 12:30 Mass in the cathedral, presided by Cardinal Subich. 2 p.m. luncheon at the Ritz-Carlton, $175 per person. But folks, the lunch is more like a early dinner. It is a real feast.
Right.
And we'll hope fill up the whole Ritz-Carlton on that day, because remember, when we started as a parish in 1849, when the cathedral burned down in the Great Chicago Fire, which I think was October 9th, 1871, which for our taping would be today.
Mm-hmm.
The anniversary would be today, back in 1871, 154 years ago. My math is correct. And it took about 4 years and a month, the dedication of the new building, which is up there today, which became that Holy Name Cathedral. So it's amazing.
And just one other thing that, of note, Bishop and Rector went around the country to raise funds to rebuild the cathedral.
They raised like $260,000 nationwide, because in those days, the parish at that point was a very poor Irish community, and when it burned to the ground, remember the church burned down, the rectory burned down, the neighborhood burned down, the homes burned down.
Mm-hmm.
These were poor people that gathered, collected about $6,500 from the community. It was a poor Irish community, so hope to see you in November.
Yes,
Great program lined up again today, and we have the 2025 Mass for Hope and Healing is an annual event hosted by the Archdiocese of Chicago for victim survivors of clerical sexual abuse and their families. The Mass is a dedicated space for victim survivors to feel supported and loved, fostering healing and reconciliation. It serves as an acknowledgement and permanent commitment to the healing of victims of abuse within the Church. The Mass is planned by survivors for survivors with the aim of involving the wider Church in the healing process. And join us again by popular demand, Mike Hoffman, a dear friend, wife Kathy, children Colleen and Michael. Mike, I met you in about 1998 when you and Kathy moved into St. Mary of the Woods, when I was pastor. So Mike, welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you so much, Father Greg, Mark. I look forward to this so much, and I'm thrilled to see your smiling face.
Yeah, great memories. And Mike, you were so involved when I was pastor. You're still deeply involved at St. Mary of the Woods in Edgebrook, but you were involved with doing everything. But I have to share with listeners, Mike and I would talk often on the phone just to say hi and how you're doing. Well, in 2006, Mike gave me a call and said, Greg, I have to see you. And no, hardly even a hello, but just like a worry in his voice. I said, sure, Mike. I said, can you come in tomorrow at 4 o'clock? And Mike said, I'll be there. And going through my head was, what could possibly be going on that no kibitzing talking, no talking sports at all, just when can I see you soon? I said, tomorrow. So going through my head is like, what is going on in the life of Mike Hoffman? And Mike, you take it from there.
Well, thank you. It's a dominant memory reaching out to you. I am a survivor of clergy sexual abuse, And in 2006, I came forward first to tell my wife, Kathy, my story of childhood sexual abuse, which I didn't know how my wife was going to take that. And so I was anxious to introduce such a depraved and kind of difficult story into my marriage. But I did tell my wife, and she treated me with outrageous love and compassion. And that moment there still continues to be my primary act of recovery. Soon after that, since we are active parishioners at St. Mary of the Woods, lecturing, head of the athletic board, had to work with you often, and we attend virtually every. I mean, the parish was a dominant factor in our lives, and so I felt strongly that I should reach out to you.
I think Kathy kind of said you should go see Father Greg.
You should think about seeing Father Greg, and so
You listen to your wife.
You got to listen to your wife, and so I did. But hopefully, the viewers can understand how anxious it could be to tell your current priest that you were sexually abused by a Catholic priest when you were a little boy. I love you dearly, but I didn't know how you were going to take that. If you would have thought that perhaps I was questioning your good ministry or your good character, and obviously I was not doing that. And so I did. I did reach out to you. I did tell you my story of childhood sexual abuse. And for the first time, you didn't know what to say.
I was speechless.
You were speechless.
Yeah.
And that's probably the only appropriate response, because it's such a shocking revelation. But you did. You listened to me and you heard the depth of my sadness and my sorrow.
And pain. And two things that I remember vividly, and the listeners need to hear this. This was a secret you had kept for 30 years.
Yes.
And the only reason you came forward finally to tell Kathy and then talk to me to get the whole ball rolling is because you read an article in the paper
Yes.
that involved other friends of yours
Yes.
who also were sexually abused.
Yes.
And you said, I can no longer keep this a dark secret. You went to Kathy, who embraced you. And when you came to me, I can see the thought was, well, I'm going to reject you. Like, how dare you say that about the priesthood? But I embraced you because I knew you're a man of integrity and character. I never doubted for a moment, by the depth of your pain, that you're making this up, and then take it from there.
Can I ask a question too?
Of course.
Those friends, the names that you saw, did you ever with them share any of the terror of the whole thing? Or
I haven't reached out to them. It was a Chicago Tribune article listing their names and who were friends of mine, places of abuse that happened to me, times listing my abuser. All of that was my trigger, so to speak. But no, that'd be too much for me.
And they
it was
moved
their
on.
secret too.
It was their secret as well, and they came forward, and it's a colossal act of courage for any survivor to come forward and tell his or her story.
Yeah.
And so from that moment, with your encouragement, Father Greg, I reached out to the Archdiocese of Chicago, and I began what's called the Independent Review Board process. And this is the process that survivors are able to have their story be heard. And in my case, I went through that process, and it's the moment where I told, Leah McCluskey is her name, she was the professional responsibility administrator, and I told her everything. Every act of abuse, places of abuse, I told her everything. And I didn't hold back. And that's one reason why I'm here today. Not holding back and having my story be heard and valued by the officials here at the Archdiocese of Chicago has made all the difference in my healing journey. And so what I've learned from that process, through counseling, through long walks in the woods, and through prayer, what I've learned in that process is that the abuse that I endured as a little boy is a part of who I am and is a part of me, but it does not define me or define who I am. Because what defines me, despite the abuse that I endured, I have blessings after blessings after blessings after blessings. And I could continue. And so I would want all survivors to hear that and know that the abuse that they endured and how tragic as it is does not define who you are, and it does not define who I am.
I do remember, Mike, that after listening, we talked for about an hour. I said, you really need to get in touch with the Office for Protection.
Yeah.
And I know you hesitated. You did make that call the next day because you were afraid to begin that journey because you thought, what if the people from the Archdiocese were to reject me, put down my story, you're just looking for a quick dollar.
Yeah.
And I know it didn't happen right away. I think Kat had encouraged you to make that phone call.
It was probably a month later, because you have to summon the emotional, there's an emotional courage, emotional toll that it takes, and you have to bring that forth and be ready.
So when you talked with me, you talked with Kathy, I thought, it can't end there. It has to be the beginning of a whole new chapter.
Yeah.
But here's something very interesting to share with both of you. Rabbi Harold Kushner years ago wrote a book entitled When Bad Things Happen to Good People. And it was a question we asked, when bad things happen to good people and why. One part of the book he talks about is not so much asking the question, why me, which is normal, but ask the question, so what am I going to do about it?
Yeah.
If something tragic happens to us, why me? Very normal. The key is, so what am I going to do about it and moving forward?
Now that prompts me to ask, so I was directing the choir at St. Mary of the Woods,
Yes.
and there's Mike Hoffman up in the pulpit telling his story to the community. How did that part of your journey happen? Because that's a risky, courageous thing to do.
Well, thank you. I consider, for me, and I can never say what other survivors have gone through. I can only describe what I've been through. For me, healing starts at home. Healing started at home with my wife and my children, and then healing starts at my home parish, and with what you said, and also Cardinal Supich was involved, celebrated liturgy with us 2 of those times, and I want my parish and all of us here in Chicago to know that there are services available to victim survivors. There are outreach services that can make a difference, and they've made a difference in my life, but the survivor, he or she, has to be open to those outreach services. And I wanted to make it real. I've been doing this for a while now, and there's a kind of perception that abuse survivors just simply leave the church. And we know that the abuse happened to you, and it's just kind of assumed by many that abuse survivors just go. And that's simply not true. And there are many, many abuse survivors in the pews. I am one of them. But it's important to be comfortable in the pews so we can all practice our faith together,
Right.
comfortably together. Not kind of, oh, you're an abuse survivor. No, I'm a faithful Catholic just like you. I'm baptized just like you, and I want to practice my faith just like you.
Well, you're not outside looking in.
Yeah.
You're part of the community.
Of course.
And also, in that journey years ago, going back to 2006, I know you spent time talking with Cardinal Francis George,
Yes.
who was also very affirming. On that note, Mark, take us to break.
Okay, we'll take a little break. Catholic Chicago, Father Greg Sakowicz, Mike Hoffman, and when we come back, we'll continue your story, but then your story became very real in terms of opening a garden of healing at Holy Family on Roosevelt Road. Let's talk about that. You've taken your journey, and you found your ministry, and we'll be back.
Thank you. Thank you, God.
I am a seminarian.
The church needs compassionate and well-trained priests to help guide each of us through life.
What inspires me, what draws me always to the priesthood is continue to see priests be a beacon of hope for other people.
You can play a part in the education of these young men as they prepare for a life of service to others.
I want to be that beacon of hope too, and it sets my heart on fire.
To support our seminarians, make your gift at archchicago.org/seminarian fund or call 312-534-7959.
We're back, Catholic Chicago, Father Greg Sackowitz, Mark Teresa here with Mike Hoffman. During the break, we said we'd come back and talk about, you want to talk a little bit about your Cardinal Francis George story. And I think one of the things I'm learning is there are wonderful priests in your journey, and you're moving the story in that direction.
Well, thank you. I think about this, my Cardinal George story, almost every day, and I'm thrilled to be able to share it with you now. As a part of the Independent Review Board process, all abuse survivors are invited to meet with the Archbishop. Many abuse survivors declined that invitation, and I was invited, and I wanted to meet with Cardinal George. I had something I wanted to say. And so at that time, I had never met a cardinal before, and so I was a little anxious about this meeting. And so I had brought regular family photos from when we didn't have cell phones. You know, you had regular photo albums of my abuser at family functions. Okay, just at a Christmas party, at a graduation party, with all my family, and there was my abuser as well.
Wow.
And I shared those photographs with Cardinal George. We put them on the table. And Cardinal George, we went through each of the photographs. He asked me about my parents. He asked me about my brother and my sister. He asked about my upbringing and about my childhood. And then there was a time when he turned to me and he apologized to me for the abuse that I endured at the hands of a priest. And so I now have a decision. It took me about a half a second where I reflected on my experience coming forward. I reflected on the time he spent with me just now and how he handled it just now. And I accepted the Cardinal's apology. Now I believe, I'm a believer, and I believe that moment was the two of us together, putting ourselves back together to right relationship with each other and right relationship with God. And I believe that then, and I think about that day all the time. And I believe that's why I'm here today, is that right relationship.
At that moment.
At that moment, that experience of us together, not just me and not just him, we wanted to return ourselves to right relationship. And I believe that.
That's fascinating. And then from that moment, this has truly become, as Mark said, a ministry. Tell us about the 14th annual Garden Healing Mass, which, see, not only have you come to peace as best you can, forgiveness of your perpetrator, and just moving forward, this has become a ministry to help others to begin their healing journey. Tell us about this healing mass.
Sure. Since that moment with Cardinal George and this process of coming forward after some counseling, I now volunteer my time on several aspects. One of them has been the creation of the, being a part of the committee to create the Healing Garden of the Archdiocese of Chicago, which is directly adjacent to Holy Family Church on Roosevelt Road. And annually, we have now it's the 14th annual Mass of Hope and Healing at Holy Family Church, which is a beautiful, beautiful church. It's a space Let me back up. It's a Mass that is planned by survivors of abuse who are still practicing Catholics.
And all are welcome.
All are welcome, but put yourself in the shoes of those survivors who are planning this Mass, singing in the choir, reading the readings. One of our survivors is a deacon, and the survivors are putting this Mass on. This year, Bishop Sullivan is our celebrant, and we're
Vicar General, the Archdiocese, Bishop Larry Sullivan.
We're really grateful for his personal engagement in this process, and we're thrilled with him. But it's for survivors of abuse. The survivors will know that their story matters when they come to a Mass like this. And that's what's important to me individually. That's what's important to Myra, who I work closely with at the Office for the Protection of Children and Youth. And it's important to the other survivors who are there.
It'll be on Saturday, October 25th. What time?
At 10:30.
So you never know
10:30.
who's watching this. So someone's watching this, dealing with the situation you dealt with, thinking about coming to the Mass. They're at the Mass, and maybe they have an aha moment where they want to deal with this. What's the next step? If a listener or someone who's watching comes to the Mass, what's available to them in terms of a next step?
Sure, it's deeply personal, and everybody's journey is totally unique. But the Archdiocese will be in attendance at that Mass, our Victim Assistance Coordinator, and others in the Archdiocese to help and support and to hear the victim's story if he or she wishes to share it. At that time,
And who is the coordinator?
Myra Flores.
Okay.
Myra Flores.
Do you
We
have a
have-
phone number
yeah, I was
or,
just gonna ask
or a website?
I believe it's on there.
Okay,
312-534-3380.
one more time.
312-534-3380 or M Flores, Flores, at archchicago.org.
Correct.
And the Mass again is on Saturday, October 25th, 10:30 at
10:30.
the Healing Garden, adjacent to Holy Family Church
Correct.
on Roosevelt.
Correct.
Tell us about the design of the garden. I'd be fascinated to hear how was it thought through and how was it designed?
Sure. The Healing Garden of the Archdiocese of Chicago, which leads us, is now a model for the building support of a national healing garden to be based in Washington, D.C.
Tell us about that.
The Chicago Garden is our model. We had a group of 4 clergy abuse survivors, 2 priests, Father Jerry Bolin and Father Larry Dowling, and then staff from the Office of Assistance Ministry with the support and encouragement of Cardinal George begin this process. We felt a central feature should be a prayer garden, and the survivors have a mission statement that's on display at our garden, and Cardinal George has a beautiful pastoral reflection carved in a plaque at the garden. And then our central feature is a beautiful sculpture of the Holy Family. And the Holy Family is what's torn apart by abuse. And restoring the Holy Family is what the goal of the garden and goal of these outreach efforts and the goal of our local church.
Beautiful.
To restore the sacred bonds of the Holy Family.
Is that National Garden up and running, or is it being designed right now or being built?
It needs all of our prayers. It is not up and running. It is building consensus. We're building supports. We have, I call it partners in healing. I reached out to you, Father Greg. I reached out to Cardinal Supich's office. Many others within our church are acknowledging the need for a national healing garden to highlight the U.S. church's ongoing commitment and ongoing obligation to all survivors of any kind of abuse, not simply clergy
Have they
abuse.
found a location in Washington?
We're working on a location. We'd like it to be at Catholic University. It's not done there yet. we are working and praying, and that's why I'm here today to talk about that.
So my background would ask the question, if people want to financially support the garden, who should they get in touch with?
We're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
We want to be there, and I like where you're at.
Okay.
There are many stakeholders within our church, and I am prepared to reach out to each and every one of them. And we're going to build bridges and build consensus around the need for a national healing garden. We want to start a national dialogue of healing, not just institutional response, but healing.
Are you comfortable with people getting in touch with you?
Yes.
Do you want to let people know how to do this?
Sure.
Email or whatever, what would be best, Mike?
We would do it via email. My email is mhoffman, MHOFFMAN, at healy-weber.com.
Say it again.
mhoffman at healy-weber.com. And I'd be happy to talk to anybody.
Now, if all were to go well as a dream, you'd hope this Washington National Garden would be completed within 2 or 3 years?
Correct. It's our hope.
It's slow. It's slow moving.
It's our hope and prayer that and timing isn't exactly perfect, but something associated with having the National Garden be associated with the upcoming 25th anniversary of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops' acknowledgement of the Dallas Charter.
Which goes back to 2002.
2002. For most of the listeners, they may not know what the Dallas Charter is. The Dallas Charter is the bishops' policies and procedures to hear victims come forward and to provide healing outreach. I've been positively impacted by the Dallas Charter, and many others have been as well. The typical person in the pew may not know what the Dallas Charter is, but the Dallas Charter is very meaningful to me and to others. And so there will be an acknowledgement of that Dallas Charter, and we'd like the potential for the National Healing Garden to be associated with that. It's a way to lift up voices of all survivors of any kind of abuse. It doesn't have to be clergy abuse. And so I have a vision statement written by survivors. May I read it to you now?
In closing, please go ahead.
Okay. This is a vision statement written by survivors of abuse, 7 survivors from across the country. As clergy sexual abuse survivors from across the United States, in relationship with the church, we offer empathy and acknowledgement to all survivors of any kind of abuse. In this sacred healing space, we invite the entire body of Christ into the journey of accompaniment and reconciliation, imploring God's mercy to bring healing to the lives of everyone harmed by abuse in the church. Pledge with us to continue working to respect, protect, defend, and restore the dignity that all deserve as children of God.
That is beautiful and powerful and right to the point.
That's who we are and what we want to do. And I'm thrilled at the opportunity to share that with your listeners.
And Mike, I want to say thank you for joining us. And again, the Healing Mass, Saturday, October 25th, 10:30 a.m., Holy Family Parish on Roosevelt. Wait, now, according to this, 10 a.m.
Please forgive. It's
Okay,
10 a.m.
oh, yeah,
Whatever
thank
that says.
Mark. Yeah, so
Yep.
Healing Mass begins at 10
10
a.m., not 10:30, but again, Saturday, October 25th, Holy Family over on Roosevelt in the Healing Garden. And Mike, you are courageous.
Yeah.
And here's a great definition of courage. Courage means being afraid and still going ahead and doing it. So God bless you, to your family, keep up the great ministry. Thank you to also co-host Mark Teresi.
Powerful.
To our
Very powerful.
producer, engineers, Michael May and Clint Cottrell. God bless all of you and have a blessed, blessed weekend.
you.